everybody, welcome back to Tiny Lion's Big World. Today we're doing my Jure Sanguinis video number 2, and today we're going to get down into what I actually did to qualify the process and figure out that I was eligible, what the thing was, is this a real thing, can I do this, and how am I going to get this done. So I'm going to get into the details in a second. I just have a few things to say ahead of time. First of all, I'm changing up the format a little bit. I'm in a different room of the house here. The last video I thought was a little bit boring, the lighting was bad. I thought I'd have a little more personality today, so bear with us while we get on our legs here and figure this whole thing out. So, I am also not an expert. I'm only going to speak about my own experience, so, you know, don't sue me, please. I'm just telling you about the things that I did and the things that I know based on what I've done. So, that being said, thanks for coming back to Tiny Lion's Big World, and now we're going to get into it. So, please watch my previous video. The things I talk about now are going to depend greatly on information from video 1. So if you haven't seen video 1, look at the link in the description down there. And I will put the link in there and you can go see the other video first to get caught up. And I will try to keep this one short as well. So the quick backstory is that I had listened to the Family Adventure podcast. You can find their link here and in the description. And I had listened to an episode and found out that this process existed, that you could reclaim your Italian citizenship by ancestry if you met a few qualifications. So here's a very fast breakdown of the process. You had to have a relative who was born in Italy that moved to another country, in my case America, while in that country had a child before they themselves became an American citizen. So in my case, my great-grandfather, his name was alternately Francesco and Arturo. That's a long story that I'll get into at some point. But he was born in Italy, and he moved to America, and he had my grandfather, Vincenzo. When Vincenzo was born, Francesco was not yet a citizen of America. My grandfather, Vincenzo, was born on American soil. He was immediately an American citizen, but because he was born the son of an Italian citizen, he would have also had Italian citizenship. That would have passed to my father and therefore to me. So I am simply presenting documentation to the Italian government saying, hey, look, here is my lineage by way of birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates of all the generations in between, from the guy who is on record in Italy to myself, saying, hey, look, I'm this guy's relative, it's unbroken, and nobody went to the consulate in between and said, hey, I don't want to be an Italian citizenship, I revoke that stuff. So because no one had said they didn't want to be an Italian citizen anymore, and I'll put the correct word in here, because they hadn't done that, because they, didn't even know about it, that citizenship would be mine by blood. When I first heard this, I was kind of blown away, and I listened back to the podcast in full and made sure I wrote down some notes in detail. That was the very, very first thing that I did. And then, of course, I went and I Googled it once I found out Jure Sanguinis, and I tried to find the common ways of spelling it. The very first websites that I ran into with Google at that time were ItalianSide.com, MyItalianFamily.com, SicilianFamilyTree.com, and then there were a couple of blogs also that I ran into, and I will post all of those links in the description below. Those just happened to be the ones that I found first and that gave me the most information that got me going. Immediately after reading those websites, I went to the Italian Consulate website for the San Francisco Consulate, because I live closest to that. I also went to the U.S. Embassy for Italy website and got some information from there as well to find out exactly what the process was, what documents I needed, what were the details, when did people have to be born, between what dates, and all of the qualifying particulars, and made sure that I had all the information correct. And then immediately I went to Ancestry.com. Now, I was very lucky because I've been building a family tree for probably 20 years now, almost. Back in like 2000, I had a bunch of family genealogical information that had been handed to me through various sources in my family. I just didn't want to have the books around, and I wanted to try to put it all in one place so I could look at it. Ancestry.com at that time was the only place that had a sort of remedial place that I could just put it all. So I built a family tree there, and I kind of forgot about it, but I kept my login information, and just every few years I would check back, and they'd have updated their site, and I would add more information. So I built this up over a very, very long time. So I immediately, after finding the consulate sites and the embassy site, I immediately went back to my own family tree and started looking up details. The other thing that I did, I called my father. And I said, hey, I'm doing some family research, and I need to know what information you have. And he had a strong box, and he went and he took the stuff out, and he took some pictures with his phone and just sent me pictures of the documents with his phone, just so I'd have the information. So, you know, if you're looking into this and you don't know where to start calling your relatives, see if they can take a picture with their phone of whatever they've got and send it to you. You'd be amazed the information you can get just by digging into your immediate family. So now I had the details of what I needed for the process, and I also had the information from my family, at least immediate family, to qualify whether my grandfather had been born after his father had moved to America, but before his father had naturalized. And I found out that those dates actually were exactly in line. My great-grandfather, Francesco, moved to America in 1916. His son, my grandfather, Vincenzo, was born in 1918, but Francesco did not naturalize until 1922. So as soon as I made super triple mega sure, because this just seemed too good to be true when I first found out, I had been working at trying to move to Europe for a year and a half. And all of a sudden, one shot out of nowhere, this just fell out of the sky. So I was tripling, quadrupling down on this to try to make sure that this was a real thing. And that was the first steps that I took. And then once I was pretty confident that this was for real, that's when I really told my dad, hey, look, this is a real thing. I think this, I might qualify, and so might you. So I spent about 2 weeks looking into it almost every day because I got obsessed with it, of course. The other thing is, when I started really getting into the thick of making sure, it was the Facebook groups, the dual Italian citizenship Facebook group. There's a number of them. I'm not going to remember their names off the top of my head right now. I will make sure to put them in the description, though. And that was by far the best resource. That, and there was another forum at tapatalk.com, groups Italian citizenship. I'm reading it off my notes here. Sorry about that. But that was a great resource also. I was within sometimes hours, at least a day, getting direct answers to very specific questions of mine, especially about how to go about starting to acquire the documents. I'm going to talk very specifically about the documentation acquisition process next, in my next video, so stay tuned for that. So that's really all I've got for you guys today. So if you have any questions, please comment below. Please like the video. It really helps out. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have more of these videos. I'm doing an entire series. I don't know how many it's going to end up being, but I am going to very specifically break down each process and talk about all the different steps that I took and all the different agencies that I had to go to, so that hopefully some of this will overlap with your research and the things you're looking into and help you guys out. But please ask me any questions. I can only answer from what I know, but I'm happy to do so. I really want to thank Rafael De Furia. He's been great answering questions for me and really helping me out. Please go watch his videos. He's got a ton of great information that I've been watching them, and I'm just passing it along. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.